Kelsey Mitchell just ended Angel Reese's comeback story before it even started. Just this weekend, Reese finally stepped back onto a professional basketball court for the first time since mysteriously vanishing from the 2025 WNBA season with a back injury, the same injury pattern that ended her 2024 season early too. And who was waiting for her? An Indiana Fever all-star who made her look completely lost. Mitchell didn't just beat Reese. She cooked her on the game-winning drive while Reese finished with the worst plus-minus on her entire team at -9. So what exactly has Reese been doing this whole time? And why does it look like she hasn't improved at all? Do you think Reese should quit basketball altogether? Let me know down in the comments below by commenting Baby Giraffe.
Money Mitch put Angel Reese in a ditch. Kelsey Mitchell finds herself at the three-point line one-on-one against the great one. If you know, you know. One-on-one against Angel Reese. Takes her off the dribble, blow by Angel Reese, seeing stars, bend over, touch your toes. Kelsey Mitchell, give me that game winner.
Here's a real question worth asking. How does a player with Angel Reese's profile keep disappearing right when the season gets hard? Let's walk through it. Reese exits the 2024 WNBA season early with a hand injury. Then she doesn't finish the 2025 Unrivaled season. Then she sits out the final stretch of the 2025 WNBA season with a back injury. 3 separate seasons, 3 separate exits, and every single time it happens toward the end, when the stakes are highest and the pressure is real. That's not bad luck, that's a pattern.
Angel Reese suspended again. Bang! Her own team suspended her because she missed too many layups. First time we've ever seen somebody suspended because they're booty cheeks. Bang! She's so embarrassed she got suspended by her own team. She's now faking a back injury. Bang! This performance, that back brace ain't doing nothing. She's hugging. She's laughing. Not a coincidence. She's also in a movie now. She's acting. Bang! Doing everything but getting better at basketball.
Now, injuries happen. Nobody is saying players can't get hurt, but the injury label only holds up when there's some kind of transparency around it. The Chicago Sky have given fans almost nothing. Day-to-day updates with no timelines, no clarity on treatment, no communication about what the recovery actually looks like. Fans are left guessing every single time, and when you leave people guessing long enough, they start connecting the dots themselves. Compare that to how the Indiana Fever operate. When Caitlin Clark is banged up, the organization says so. When any Fever player is dealing with something, there's accountability. Fans know what's happening and why. That's not a small thing. That's the difference between an organization that respects its audience and one that just hopes everyone stops asking questions.
Burn! A movie, you got a podcast, 2K cover, but you can't hit a jump shot. Burn! Season's over, so let's rewind the tape to her first rebound of the season. Let's get it! Bang! 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 My favorite play of the season for her. It took her 4, 5, 6, 7. Tries to make it to the basket. The anti-gravity shot. Bang! Defender not leaving the ground to block your shot. Bang! What's up? Come get some. Bang!
Shoot, I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Oh yeah, butter pecan. Bang!
And then February 2026 rolls around. Reese shows up to Unrivaled looking physically fine. Ready to play. No limp, no visible discomfort, no indication that her back was ever the serious issue it was described as. If the injury was bad enough to miss an entire WNBA season, what exactly happened between then and now? What did the rehab look like? Who cleared her and when? None of that has been explained. What we do know is that the return lined up perfectly with a media moment, not a medical one. The cynical read is that these exits are less about physical health and more about avoiding accountability. When the Sky are struggling and the spotlight gets uncomfortable, the back flares up. When there's a camera and a story waiting, the back feels fine. That's speculation, sure, but Reese's own timeline keeps inviting that exact read.
Kelsey Mitchell calls game over Angel Reese. Oh snap.
To Billis. Back out Mitchell. 5
Ooh.
to shoot. Crossover. Nifty dribble.
Oh, don't slam the ball. Don't slam the ball, Angel. Come on. It's not that serious. It's unrivaled. Don't slam the ball.
There's also a basketball cost that doesn't get talked about enough. When you miss games, you miss more than just game time. You miss practice reps, film sessions, conditioning work, live reads against real defenders. You miss the grind that actually makes players better. Every early exit is a development gap. And development gaps don't close on their own. They widen. That's exactly what February 20th showed the world. A player who keeps leaving before the work is done came back looking like someone who hadn't done the work. And a Fever All-Star was standing right there, sharp and ready, with absolutely no patience for a rusty return. So how exactly does a player who keeps sitting out just walk back into Unrivaled mid-season? That's not a simple question. And the answer Unrivaled has given a mental pool system. Players get assigned to rosters through a structured process. Mid-season re-entries aren't supposed to just happen. There are actual rules around roster construction and player eligibility. And Candace Parker, one of the most respected voices in women's basketball, said publicly that Reese's re-entry raised serious questions about whether the league bent its own rules to make it happen. Parker isn't a random commentator. She's a Hall of Fame caliber player who understands exactly what league structure looks like and what happens when you set a bad precedent. When someone at that level calls the exemption process questionable, you pay attention. The timing makes it worse. Unrivaled's viewership numbers heading into February were not where the league wanted them. The Clark-driven WNBA had raised the bar for what women's basketball ratings could look like, and Unrivaled was feeling that pressure hard. Reese's name generates clicks. Her return got announced, covered, and talked about. Suddenly, the league had a news cycle. So ask yourself, was this a basketball decision or a business decision? Because leagues that blur that line tend to pay for it in credibility, and Unrivaled may have just spent some of theirs.
There's no rules, you can't break them.
Oh, damn. D-Zam. If there are no rules, you can't break them. And you can tell Aaliyah is like, yeah, this came across as shady to her too. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Hell, nobody knows what's going on in this league. I mean, seriously. Seriously.
There's a third possibility that's harder to ignore. Reese's Reebok deal and her broader brand have taken real hits. Sponsors care about relevance, and relevance requires visibility. When you're not playing basketball, you're not on highlight reels, you're not trending for the right reasons, and your market value quietly drops. A return to Unrivaled, even under murky circumstances, puts her name back in the conversation. Multiple reports have raised questions about Reese's financial situation, and while hard details are difficult to confirm, the urgency of her return fits the profile of someone who needed to be playing more than the league actually needed her. Here's the part that should bother Unrivaled most. The gamble didn't pay off. Reese's return generated a news cycle, but it didn't move the needle the way Clark moves it for the WNBA every single time she steps on the court. Clark drives numbers because she performs at an elite level consistently. Reese's return generated conversation about missed layups and a -9 plus-minus. Those are two very different kinds of attention, and only one of them builds a league.
To Billis. Back out Mitchell. 5 to shoot. Crossover. Nifty dribble. Turns. Layup goes. 5 earns win number 4. On the back of the missile. Kelsey Mitchell.
Wow, what a finish.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, you didn't see it coming, but Kelsey Mitchell, from the time this game began, in a plethora of ways, found ways to score. Her handles, getting around, turning the corner again. The lefty, you know it's in the sky, nothing you can do when you stop her.
That's a tough matchup for any post player, anybody really with Kelsey Mitchell. I talked about her at the top of the game. She was going to be the one if the Hive wanted to get the W. She's the one to close it out.
All 4 of Hive's wins are by 3 points or fewer. It's a season high 80 points.
So the exemption story is really 3 separate problems stacked on top of each other. A league that may have compromised its own rules for a short-term ratings boost. A player whose brand needed a lifeline badly enough to raise rule questions. And a comeback that failed to deliver the performance that would have justified any of it. Candace Parker saw it clearly. The box score confirmed it. And while Unrivaled was busy engineering Reese's return, the Fever were just out there building something real. 13 points and 8 rebounds. On paper, that looks fine. If you just glanced at the box score, you might think Reese had a solid return. But the box score is doing a lot of heavy lifting here, and it's hiding more than it's showing.
There to get Chelsea Gray up. Nice finish.
Reese attacks Stevens, high off glass. Big lineup for Nola Henry. Reese and Austin play together. Reese
Start with context. Rose Basketball Club got a version of Reese that nobody had stress tested yet. A team defending against a player coming back from months off isn't the same as a team game planning for a healthy, in-rhythm Reese who has been competing all season. Rose knew exactly what they were getting. And even with that advantage working in her favor, the finishing problems showed up almost immediately. Missed layups. Not difficult mid-range attempts or contested threes, layups. The kind of shots that players at this level convert in their sleep, in practice, in warm-ups. The mechanics around the rim looked slow and uncertain, like someone whose body remembers the motion but hasn't felt real game speed in a very long time. Here's the thing though, the finishing issues aren't new. This is a critique that has followed Reese throughout her professional career, not something that appeared because of rust. Her entire game is built on physicality, winning position, grinding on the glass, getting to the right spots before the defense can react. That style only works if you can actually finish when you get there. When you can't convert close-range looks consistently, the whole foundation of your game starts to crack.
Angel Reese, part 39, let's get it! They only lost by 19! Bang! Starting to feel bad. The other teams are starting to feel bad too. They're just gonna let her have it. Like, here you go! Like that Make-A-Wish kid scoring a touchdown in a wheelchair. Bang! Come here, cut my arm. You're gonna say that I bleed Angel Reese transition threes? How about it? Bang! 23 of her 81 shots this year have been blocked. 28%. Ain't that crazy? Bang! Guess not if you can't jump over a blade of grass because your ass. Bang!
Then there's the number that actually tells you what happened on that floor. -9 plus/minus in 10 minutes of play. The team was outscored by 9 points every time Reese was on the court. That's not a rounding error or a fluke sequence. That's the game getting worse, consistently, whenever she was involved. Individual counting stats can mask a lot, but plus/minus cuts straight through all of it. Reese has said publicly that she needs great players around her to succeed. The Rose BC roster isn't weak. She had support out there. The unit still got outplayed badly during her minutes, which makes that argument land a lot differently than she probably intended it to. The conditioning piece matters too. Coming back from that long an absence, your body isn't at game speed even if it feels ready in practice. Reaction time suffers. Defensive positioning gets sloppy. Lateral movement slows down just enough to matter. And when the player you're defending is as sharp and decisive as Kelsey Mitchell, that fraction of a second is the entire difference between staying in front and watching her blow right past you.
What do you want with your corn on the cob? You got butter? Butter? Did you say butter? Butter pecan! Bang! Y'all want to see a dunk in the WNBA? Me too! Bang! Crazier stat is that she averages more turnovers per game than field goals made. Bang! Got her double-double, am I right? Double-double. Give me that rebound. Bing, 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 bang. Grenade team, it's hot. She's dropping back. She's in the pocket. She's scanning the field. And she's picked off. Going the other way. She's at the 40, 30, 20, 10. End zone. Touchdown. Bang!
13 points and 8 rebounds sound fine until you stack them next to that -9, the missed layups, and the reality that she was about to get exposed by someone who had spent every single day of the offseason doing the work Reese wasn't doing. Want to know what separates a player who has been competing all season from one who just came back? Watch the fourth quarter of this game. Kelsey Mitchell spent the entire 20-25 to 20-26 stretch doing exactly what Indiana Fever All-Stars do. Playing basketball, getting better, building chemistry. Mitchell is one of the most dangerous guards in women's basketball when she gets downhill. She's fast, she's decisive, and she does not hesitate when she sees an opening. That's not a natural gift you maintain without work. That's a skill you sharpen every single day.
Now right here, when Kelsey Mitchell says right? She gets it in the corner and she says, "Oh, this is Angel Reese. Let me bring you out to deep waters. Let me get you out to deep waters and let me cook up real quick." Off the dribble, game winner, Angel Reese. This isn't the best defensive form. When you see how far hunched over she is, trying to stay with, yeah, come on, you're gonna lose that 10 times out of 10 times, especially against Kelsey Mitchell. Guards can't even keep up with Money Mitch. Guards can't even keep up with Money Mitch.
Late in the game, with Hive down and needing a bucket, Mitchell got the ball in a pick and roll with Reese as the primary defender. This is where months of inactivity meets real-time decision-making. Mitchell read the defense, saw that Reese's positioning was half a step slow, and attacked immediately. No hesitation, no second guessing. She saw the gap, and she went. The drive was textbook Mitchell. Change of pace, get the defender leaning, finish through contact. Reese was supposed to be the last line of defense on that play. She couldn't recover in time. The game-winning drive went in. Hive wins 78-80, and Angel Reese's big comeback night ended with her standing there watching Mitchell celebrate.
Joking on the internet right now, this is what Angel Reese saw while guarding Kelsey Mitchell. This is what Angel Reese saw while guarding Kelsey Mitchell. Just Kelsey Mitchell, bam, right past her.
What makes that sequence matter goes beyond just getting beaten on a drive. That moment required lateral quickness, anticipation, and the ability to contest without fouling. Those are exactly the things that months away from competitive basketball erode. Reese showed none of them on that play. Not one. Mitchell showed all of them. And a big reason why is the environment she trains in every single day. She has Caitlin Clark pushing the standard of preparation and professionalism in practice. She has Aaliyah Boston's veteran presence keeping everyone grounded. She has Lexi Hull's relentless work ethic and Sophie Cunningham's physical toughness all around her. All of that shapes how Mitchell approaches big moments. She was ready because her environment demands readiness, full stop. Reese's environment has looked nothing like that. Public disputes with teammates, criticism of veterans, months away from competitive basketball. You simply do not build fourth-quarter readiness in that kind of situation. Readiness comes from daily habits, and the habits have to be consistent.
Now here's the thing, just because Angel Reese may have gotten the steal here, doesn't mean she would have converted on this bucket. Let's take a look right here from last year.
8-7, the lead has flipped.
Angel Reese with a steal, wide open layup, dumps it off.
Copper, the finish.
Yeah. You guys get the point. Who's to say that Angel Reese would have won up for the layup and actually converted on the layup, right? Who's to say that's actually what would have taken place?
The Mitchell drive wasn't a fluke or a lucky read. It was the logical outcome of two players on completely different paths running into each other at the worst possible moment for one of them. One player had spent months sharpening her game inside one of the best team cultures in women's basketball. The other had been away long enough that the basics, defensive positioning, lateral recovery, contest timing, had gone soft. The game-winning drive was the verdict, and it points directly to why 2026 is shaping up to be a very different kind of season for the Fever, and a very difficult one for everyone trying to catch up. Caitlin Clark's impact on Indiana doesn't show up just in her own stat line. It shows up in every single player around her, and the February 20th game was a perfect example of that. The Fever's core heading into 2026 is genuinely special. Clark is the engine, Aaliyah Boston is the anchor, Kelsey Mitchell is the finisher, Lexi Hull is the connector, Sophie Cunningham is the enforcer. That's not just a roster, that's a group that has been building towards something real, together, while others were sitting out.
I mean, I'm proud of this group. I think we've shown all season long, like, they're resilient, they're connected, they pull for each other, they enjoy one another, they celebrate one another, and, that stuff alone is good for 10 to 12 points a game. And, for this group, the way that they share the ball, how unselfish they are. I mean, I'm really proud of them. It's not been ideal circumstances all season long, but they've shown the character of who they are. They've been resilient. They've responded to adversity, and they continue to elevate one another. And, I couldn't be more proud of this group than I am at this moment.
Clark's Nike deal, her Forbes recognition, her $28 million landmark, none of that stays in her pocket. The entire Fever organization benefits every single time she steps on the court. Record attendance, top-tier ratings. Games that people actually schedule their nights around. That's what Clark-led basketball delivers, consistently, without needing a controversy or a rules exemption to generate interest. Reese's brand has delivered something very different. Controversy. Sponsor uncertainty. A Reebok relationship that has drawn scrutiny. A comeback that got covered primarily because of missed layups and a negative plus-minus. The market pays attention to the difference between genuine star power and attention that comes from drama. And right now, that gap is wide open. The Fever's culture runs on accountability and consistency. Those two things don't show up in social media posts, but they show up in fourth-quarter execution. Mitchell's game-winning drive didn't happen because she got fortunate on one possession. It happened because she has spent months inside a system that prepares players for exactly those high-pressure moments. That kind of readiness gets built every day in practice, not recovered in a few weeks after a long absence.
I think it just says a lot about who we have as human beings. That was one of the things that we made a priority in the offseason of, who we bring into this organization. Number one, quality human beings, selfless human beings that want to pull for one another, that understand. We have this depth for a reason, and sometimes it creates challenges getting people on the floor. But in situations like this is why you have it. And I'm just, she's right. I mean, as a pro and as a pro coach, this is one of the most connected groups I've seen.
Boston brings veteran leadership that keeps the group grounded. Hull brings defensive intensity that raises the standard on that end every single night. Cunningham brings a physical toughness that sets the tone for how the team competes. All of that creates space for Clark's talent to operate, and it pulls every other player upward along with it. Reese's situation in Chicago has looked nothing like that. Her public criticisms of Courtney Vanderloot and other teammates painted a clear picture of a locker room without that kind of foundation. Vanderloot responded calmly, directly, and without drama. More composure in one press conference than Reese has shown across multiple seasons. That's the leadership gap, and it's as real as any skill gap on the court. The 2026 WNBA season is coming fast. Clark is healthy, motivated, and surrounded by players who have been competing and improving all winter. The same group that watched Mitchell and Reese's comeback story on a game-winning drive is the group that will be pushing for a championship when the real season starts.
Are the records that she's broken on the men's and women's side. Caitlin Clark will be the first player ever, Brian, to lead the country in not just scoring. People want to say she's the greatest scorer of all time, and that's true, but scoring and assists. She's the only player to reach 3,000 points and 1,000 assists. No player has ever done that before. So there are things that she's done that no player on the men's or women's side has ever done.
The February 20th game showed exactly where the gap stands between a team that kept building and a player who kept finding reasons to walk away. That gap doesn't close on its own. Angel Reese came back with questions swirling around her health, the rules, and her motives. The game answered all of them. A -9 plus-minus, missed layups, and a game-winning drive from a Fever all-star she simply couldn't stop. That's not a rough debut, that's a verdict. Clark, Mitchell, Boston, Hull, and Cunningham were building the whole time Reese was generating injury headlines. The gap you saw on February 20th didn't appear overnight, and it's not closing anytime soon. Do you think Reese should quit basketball altogether? Let me know down in the comments below by commenting, Baby Giraffe. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.